Hey everyone, so I thought today we would discuss what I think is one of the most important things in maintaining a good, healthy, and number one, most importantly, beautiful aquarium. Um, and it's something that people seem to forget quite a lot, which is time. Um, with this hobby in particular, but I mean anything in life, but this hobby in particular, is nothing good happens quickly. So when you have your tank, like imagine. So when I first set up this tank back, oh whoops, I'll get out of the way. When I first set up this aquarium back a few years ago now at home, um, it had heaps of algae, like there was cyano and green hair algae and green spot algae and like probably more. I can't remember, but yeah, it was just gross. But kind of just work through it. So take some time, and then you'll find as stuff grows, like your bacteria colonies will settle down and be able to process the waste better. The plants will be growing properly. The fish will be maturing, and you get something like this. Like this is obviously not an astonishing aquarium. Like you can see some not super healthy Anubias and whatever, but I mean that's not the point of this tank. This is a fish tank rather than like a planted tank. But it is sort of coming together now. And you can say the same about a lot of our aquariums. They just take time to settle down. Like the next one I'll show you is this one here. When I first set this up, it was much the same. Like there was just poo all over the place. The water was always kind of murky a little bit, all that kind of stuff. Now you can see the water's crystal clear. There's still a bit of poo, but it kind of collects in normal places. There's no algae, and stuff like that. And I mean, I find a lot of people just end up trying to rush things, and it's not as easy to get success. And that's in a lot of spaces. Like, I mean, for example, with the cycle, which is probably a big area of contention within, with people, is that, you'll encounter some people who say never cycle anything ever, just chuck fish in and you'll be fine, which I wouldn't recommend. There's the people who say cycle media, just chuck cycle media and chuck fish. It's probably the method I'd recommend the most. Then you get like the bottle bacteria people, or like the pure ammonia method, or there's hundreds of methods. But basically, it all takes time. Like even with the method that I suggest, which is the cycled media method, you won't have like. If you do it right, you won't have ammonia and stuff, but it will aesthetically not look that great. Like you'll get algae. Well, with any tank, you'll get algae. Like you'll get your diatoms, for example. You might get a bit of green hair algae as the plants are starting to grow, if you have plants, all this kind of thing. But it isn't the sort of be all and end all. Like a lot of people, what you'll find is like a lot of people recommend or wanting to add like things like the Seachem does one that's like pristine, I think it's called, that like clears stuff, water clarifier, and then there's like API AccuClear, something like that, and like all the different brands of fish stuff have one. There are various brands of like stuff to clean the water. Also, by the way, I decided I'll just show you guys some stuff because it's going to be boring just me walking around talking, so I'll just show you guys this stuff while I talk. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that because it's just rushing things, and it's kind of like band-aids. I mean, they do fix stuff for sure. Well, not for sure, but oftentimes they will fix stuff, but it just isn't going to be the long-term fix. I find it's much better to just leave things as they are, and obviously making sure everything's chemically okay, like the fish aren't getting ammonia poisoning or anything. But just kind of ride out the ugly stage of the tank, which is something people talk about in like reefing circles, but not so much in the freshwater circles. And then you will find like this, like I don't really have any algae problems in here. Like I have a lot of light, like this light's on probably like 10 hours a day maybe, but there doesn't grow any algae. The plants probably aren't as happy as they should be, but it's not the be all and end all. But kind of just ride that out, and then you get to that point where your tank kind of is able to keep clear by itself and like look nice by itself. So that's something that we get a lot in our retail tanks, is like people coming in asking how we keep the tanks clean. It's just because they've been set up for a while. Like obviously we do our water changes and algae scrub and everything, but they've just been set up for a while, so like they're much better at kind of keeping aesthetically clean on their own, without us having to, you know, be getting in and like pulling algae all the time and all that kind of thing. Obviously sometimes we do, just dealing with this many tanks, sometimes we do, but not all the time. And you'll find most of the time, like most tanks will be, once they've been set up for like 6 months, much easier to keep looking aesthetically nice, particularly for like, you know, your display tanks, like in your living room or in your hallway or whatever, wherever they are. The best thing to just keep them looking nice is time, to get there. And I mean, this time thing does extend to other parts of fish as well. Like for example, you know, fish health, like growing fish out takes time. And so like you'll often find people wanting to buy big fish or like adult fish, which of course is like has its place. But I mean, you can just buy little things and just ride it out for 6 months to a year till they're fully mature and like full sized and everything. And then you'll be getting much better coloration and like activity and like breeding behaviors and all this kind of thing. And you can, like, it can be not that fun. Sometimes, I mean, it depends on the kind of person you are. But I think it is really important to kind of get that end result that a lot of people are after. It is just a time thing. And like a getting there thing. Like for example, this tank, it's not got any fish in it now, but like it's only been set up for like maybe a month. It looks pretty bad, like you know, it goes through, it has heaps of diatoms and like full of tannins and like the plants are struggling and all that kind of thing. But that's just because it hasn't been set up long, nothing's settled in. Like the parameters can swing a lot easier, you can get a lot more like algae growth, all this kind of thing. Which is obviously not what you want, but yeah, I mean, the key is it will get there, and I'm in no rush. Like I'm not chucking in AccuClear and like Flourish Excel or like algae killers and all that. Kind of just write it out, hand remove it when I need to, but yeah, not taking it to, not trying to rush it, getting to that final point that I'm wanting to get it to. It's just like a nice tank. So yeah, and I mean, I suppose if you have any sort of questions or anything in this space, be sure to let me know. Like I'm more than happy to help kind of coach you guys through it and like teach you guys what is needed, and like how to get there and like ways to maybe make the process a bit easier on yourself and that. But yeah, fact of the matter is just these things do take time. So yeah, I mean, guys, if at all possible, just to stay patient. Your tanks will look nice. It's not, keeping fish isn't too hard. It is like, keep up with your maintenance, like do your water changes, do your algae scrubs and that. But keeping a nice tank will kind of come in time. It doesn't have to be like the super flash aquascapes where it's like an hour's maintenance every day. It can be if that's what you want to do. Like you want to do something super flash, you need to be super involved in all that. Of course, you do you, but it doesn't have to be. So yeah, I think that's just something that would be good for more people to be aware of and more people to remember, is like the tank will look nice, you just have to wait for it. So yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. But if you've got any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments below or send us a message or something on Facebook. And then yeah, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.